Life is it's basically Alien. It's Alien. You want me to review Alien? I can review Alien instead. I actually just finished reading the novelization. A lot more science jargon, mumbo jumbo, but it's good. God, how good does Alien Covenant look, right? Danny McBride, Captain James Franco. Okay, let me get back to Life. Life is the 2017 science fiction horror thriller film directed by Daniel Espinosa and written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, the writers of Deadpool. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, my future wife Rebecca Ferguson, and Ryan Reynolds, who can no longer star in any movie without me picturing him as Deadpool. Deadpool in space. The entire movie takes place on the International Space Station, where a 6-member crew is studying a soil sample they retrieved from Mars, which apparently contains the first proof of extraterrestrial life. But, it's not like the Martians from Mars Attacks. It's just a single-cell organism. It's harmless. But eventually, the single-cell organism evolves into a multi-celled organism. Single cell, no problem. Multiple cells, that's a problem. And I'm assuming you can guess what happens next. A lot of bad shit happens next. Life is basically a mix between Alien, The Martian, Gravity, and a little bit of Deadpool, because Ryan Reynolds is in it, and he plays a sarcastic astronaut. I can understand casting one actor with movie star good looks, but do you really need 6 astronauts that look like movie stars? It's just so unrealistic. While it may borrow some of the motifs and plot points from the 1979 science fiction classic, it really is just an updated Alien. But Life is able to separate itself from Alien by being totally fucking amazing. If you're going to basically remake Alien, then this is how you do it. Horror films are usually most effective when you care about the characters who are being brutally murdered throughout the movie. Most horror films spend the majority of their screen time butchering characters who are walking, talking cliches. So you don't really care when they die. That type of film needs a very strong antagonist, and this movie has both. This cast doesn't necessarily have a Ripley amongst their crew. The characters are likable because the actors are good. It's a really good cast of nameless characters. They have names, but I don't remember any of them except Cho. Deadpool, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Mission Impossible lady. The best character in the movie is the creature, who is just absolutely horrifying. I would even go as far to say that it's more terrifying than the xenomorph in the original Alien. I don't want to spoil anything about the creature because watching it evolve throughout the film I just don't want to spoil it, but I felt so claustrophobic when I was watching this movie. I would never go into space anyway, but to be trapped in this space station with an alien monster, like the original Alien, there's nowhere to go. It's a space maze, but you're in the middle of fucking space. And it's brutal. Nothing is left to the imagination in this movie. The deaths are brutal and visible. The creature, which they name Calvin, after Calvin Coolidge, the greatest U.S. president in history, he's not hunting his prey. He's murdering his competition. His only objective is to survive, and that's what the astronauts are doing too. The science of the movie is pretty interesting as well. They talk about how the individual cells in the organism are basically a combination of a myocyte, a neuron, and a photoreceptor all in one. So it's basically a moving, functioning brain that's made up of muscle tissue. Essentially, it's a killer brain. Now, this is the Martian aspect of the movie. They don't necessarily focus on the science as much as I would have liked them to. Maybe that's a good thing because I was so confused during The Martian, a film that I loved, but I just didn't get the science. And I was going to buy the book, but I would just be so lost. And then the visual style is very similar to Gravity. It's not as well directed as Gravity, but there are some pretty cool shots, and you never feel like you're watching a movie in front of a green screen. You actually feel like you're in space, and that's always very important as somebody who just recently watched the Star Wars prequels. But really what it comes down to is, can a horror movie scare you? Can it put you on edge? Can it make you nervous? Is it unsettling? And this movie is very unsettling. It's a very fun movie. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I would say go see it in theaters. Go see it with the packed theater. Cool characters, a very cool creature, and an ending that some of you might see coming, but it might catch you off. It might